Hello, today we're going to be wrapping a tail. As you can see, Lily's tail drags around pretty well. Honestly, the best thing to do is not brush a lot. And I'm really hard about doing that myself because I always hate tangles and everything like that. So you get it pretty cleaned out. I like to wash my horses before I wrap it initially, but since your tail stays wrapped up, it's pretty clean on the bottom half anyways. You can use detanglers. Leave-in conditioners are also going to put in the tail as well. Currently I've been using Cowbell Magic Detangler. It's a concentrate, it's a serum instead of a spray. And a little does go a long way. But I'll just put a good amount in my hand and I'll run it through the tail. Try to get it through everywhere, especially the ends, because the ends always like to break off and stuff like that, so I'm trying to keep it as healthy as possible on the ends. I just go to the bottom of the tailbone, maybe a couple inches underneath of it. Just run your fingers through. This serum, it really does detangle very well. It does leave a glossy shine to it, more than the other ones do. I put it in her mane and her forelock as well. So what I'll do is I will actually get stragglies down. So this actually will help swat the flies still, even though her tail will be wrapped up. When she swats, the extra hairs will still help get the flies off. So I definitely try to get some of that down, and I separate it pretty well. Get a good start right underneath the tailbone. I'll separate and start braiding. The first couple braids you want to leave somewhat loose so it's not pulling on the tailbone itself, so they don't pull out. So you'll just loosely start braiding, and then a couple down, and then I start really getting tight. And my braids never seem to be even. I always have one that's thicker and one that's thinner. But it doesn't really matter for this. And if you see the ends start crinkling up in the braid, I'll like rerun a brush through it to keep everything straight and uniform. Now I'm starting to get into the kinkier stuff. And see, this is why I mean, like, don't brush as much. Because all that hair could have still been in her tail, but I'm a bad habit of brushing still. And that's my fault. My braids are getting uneven, which is normal for me. They seem normal at the top. And you'll want to go down as far as you can. Like I said, I'm horribly uneven. Another thing to do is prep your vet wrap. I just go on to get regular vet wrap. You can get Tractor Supply or Roll King. I typically will get, for her tail, about this much ready. Maybe from the bend of your arm to your palm of your hand. Normally I have that ready. So once you get your tail braided, come back up near the tailbone and wiggle a spot through the braid where you started at. You'll take your end and you'll wrap it through that braid, and with her tail being so long, And actually Munchkin's is a lot worse because hers is a lot longer. It depends on how long you want your wrap to be. If you want a shorter wrap, you'll want to wrap more times. I like to keep them shorter. That's just my opinion. So I'll wrap hers twice through the braid. And so you'll try to keep all the hairs tucked up where they don't hang and get snagged. Your vet wrap, I haven't really decided which way I actually like it. If you want to go against the grain or with the grain of the roll, but so you'll take your vet wrap to the loose end and you'll go straight through the same hole that you already put your braid through. And I will pull it through the back and I will wrap it underneath, right like that, okay? And I try to keep it squeezed together. Sometimes it likes to squirm around. Keep it squared together. I come back up underneath from the back side, and then pull it tight and wrap back under it with the vet wrap roll itself. After that, go to the left or the right, it doesn't really matter. And you try to keep everything tight so you kind of can't really let go of this. Pull that excess hair out of the way because you want to make sure that she's got something to swat flies with. So you just keep it squeezed together as tight as possible because you want that adhesive to adhere to itself. And you will go up above where you initially went through the mane or through the tail. And you'll squeeze that top as tight as possible because dirt and debris will fall in there. So when you rewrap, you'll have a lot of dirt and debris build up at the top of the wrap where the opening is, and typical dust and horses roll and stuff like that. So always try to keep that top part tight as you can. But just go up and down, go up and then come back down as much as you want. I almost use a whole roll on these horses. This one was actually a partial roll, so I don't have a whole lot to work with. But I've got to take it down in 2 more weeks anyways, so it's not a big deal. But make sure that end gets wrapped really, really well, because they've got tendencies of beating and banging these things, and it'll end up rubbing a hole, and then you got your hair hanging out, and it'll break back off again. Like when I just unwrapped her tail, that's what it looked like. And it was either from me not wrapping enough, or maybe I left it on too long. In the wintertime, I can actually leave these wraps on for about 2 months at a time. So when they get their hooves trimmed, I usually rewrap them. But with Lily, I've been doing the unicorn sessions, so I've been having to bathe her quite frequently, and so it gets rewrapped quite often. I'm getting towards the end of my wrap. Okay, now for some horses that do like to beat and bang and move these around an awful lot, I will put any type of tape. I've used duct tape, I've used Gorilla tape, I've used electric tape, and where the end of my vet wrap is, I will just take one strip and go around and tape it to help hold the vet wrap, because it will sometimes start unraveling. But other than that, like I said, squeeze it together so the vet wrap adheres to itself very well. And then there's your excess tail that you want hanging down. So when they swish, there's still plenty of tail hanging out to help keep the flies off of them. And it helps. You'll start getting some breakage right here also, because like I said, when you have it so tight, it's like cutting circulation off your hand. It's going to start cutting through some of the tail. So you do want to kind of be careful. But that's why I do leave this excess, so it helps kind of feather it through and stuff like that. But that's the best advice I have for wrapping a tail. Thank you.